Hi there, and welcome to the Bottom Line Podcast. I am your host, the American Mystic. Thanks for joining. And right now, as we talk about what's going on in the world and see what's happening, the topic that I am going to speak on today is silence. What does silence mean? Why silence? Why do we turn inward to become silent? All kinds of things like that. So, to get started, what is silence? That's silence. A pause is silence. When we take a pause of silence for something, we literally just stop. We stop. It's the whole point. We stop. So when we turn inward to become silent, the whole point of stopping is to stop yourself. Stop thinking, stop believing, stop coming up with judgments, ideas, labels, names, anything. Stop it all. If you stop it on all levels, then you become silent. Why do you want to become silent? Because silence is everything. Silence is everywhere. If you simply just sit anywhere, you will find that if you allow your ears to simply hear and allow your eyes to simply see, without your mind jumping in and having something to say about it, you will find that everything in this creation exists in silence. You are no different. The difference being with a human being is simply this. We have a mind, and we have access to greater aspects of mind. We have the ability to think. We have a brain. But that brain actually has allowed us to see something that is more of an illusion than anything. Because life itself is just a play and a dance of energy. You know this when you turn inward and you feel yourself. You understand that which you think that you are is actually silent. It's still. Only the images, the memories, the thoughts, all those things that are dancing around in your mind make you feel like there's noise. And there is noise. We call that noise. But the noise is simply you doing you things, meaning you using your brain some way that it doesn't need to be used. Your brain is simply just this organ that sits in a bone box, never sees the light of day, ever. Never sees the light of day, yet can make all these conclusions and deductions about what's going on outside that bone box because of five senses. You have five senses. You can see, you can smell, you can taste, you can touch, and you can hear. Those are the five ways that your brain inside that bone box make judgments, come up with what's on the outside, which by the time it gets to your brain is actually the past. Now think about that for just a second. By the time the information of hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, or seeing, by the time those things get to your brain and a conclusion, a deduction, anything like that can be made, it's already in the past. The event that your brain is judging, the event that your brain is coming up with its ideas about, its beliefs about, is now in the past. Yes? Isn't it so? You cannot real time, even though it seems that way and it feels that way, that is an illusion. You cannot reasonably use any sense that you have real time. It's impossible. Simply because it takes time for that data to come in, be transferred throughout the body up to the brain as electrical signals and impulses for the brain to come up with its conclusions and deductions. All of that happens in silence. Every last bit of that happens inside here. And if you simply sat somewhere and were thinking about today, tomorrow, last night, what happened 6 years ago, why they did this to you, what's going on over there, why is this happening, why is the sun shining, your brain is everywhere. That is noise that is not you being silent. But everywhere else around you is silent. Your body's silent. Your senses are silent. Everything about you is silence. So here's the fun part about turning inward and becoming silent. Everything grows out of silence. Everything dies back into silence. Therefore, silence is the most powerful energy in this universe. It's the biggest. Before noise gets there, silence was already there. Noise has to be born out of silence. Something has to move. Something has to happen. An event must occur for a noise to happen. Therefore, silence was there first, and silence will be there afterwards. So you could say everything's like a pop-up. It's kind of like a Doppler effect. Right? Doppler effect, you hear the noise coming out of silence. It gets louder, and then it quickly dies off right back into silence. Silence is the most powerful energy there is, period. So now here's the fun part. From silence, anything is possible. Anything. Anything is possible from silence. So if I stay still here, if this one, this thing that I call me, this body, functions as silently as possible, meaning on the inside, I have no judgments, I have no opinions, I have no ideas, I have no beliefs, I have nothing. I simply just am. And I let anybody else have whatever opinion they want to have. If that's the way you're made, then you can make opinions. That's okay. It's fine. I choose to reserve that. I choose not to have that. Why? Because that keeps me silent. And if I stay silent, then I consciously get to choose how I am. I'm not reactionary. I consciously get to choose how I am. And how I am depends on how you act to me. How I am absolutely determines how creation itself responds to me. If I step out and I'm angry, and I'm upset, and I'm pissed off, well, anybody's had that type of a reaction before. When they leave like that, or they show up somewhere like that, or they are around people like that, people don't want to be around you. They give you some space. They themselves typically become silent unless they're looking for a confrontation. They stay silent because you obviously are not. You obviously are chaotic. You obviously are upset. And you know how people treat you when you step into a situation, any situation, and you are angry. You stepped in angry. That means that everything else responds in kind, in some way, shape, or form. Either fear or they'll meet your anger. You instantly elevate the situation, and it's not a good elevation. As opposed to if you step into a room calm, peaceful, yet exuberant with life inside of you, excited, anticipatory, ready for whatever's going to happen. That too elevates and changes the energy, and everything must respond to you in that way as well. And if you've ever taken the time to walk into any situation or any room or anything, it doesn't matter what it is, go to work, calm, peaceful, happy. See how everything treats you then. It's a very big difference. So, from my situation right here, and you can do this, this is the same for everybody, for all of us. These are the choices, these are the critical choices we have as human beings, a being in a human form. The most critical thing is I sit here and I have a limitless amount of ways I can be. I can be happy, I can be sad, I can be worried, I can be anxious, I can be glad, I can be mad, I can be upset, I can be depressed, I can be exuberant, I can be bummed out. I can be critical, I can be accepting. I can be love. I can also be hate. I can be anything I want from this point forward. I can get up from this chair and I can step into the next version of me in the next moment in any way I choose. It's my choice. It's my choice. But I can only make that choice if I'm silent, if I'm calm, because then choices are available. If I step up angry, I'm already angry. My choices are gone, isn't it? If I get up from here angry, I am already anger. Therefore, I have no choice. I am anger. If I simply get up and I leave all possibility to the next moment, I have every choice available to me. Every one of them. Now, let's put that into a scenario. You're with your significant other, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, however your arrangement is. And they come home to you, and you are happy. You feel good. Having a good day. Everything's great. Everything went well for you today. Everything really seemed to vibe for you today. You're feeling really good about yourself. You're feeling really, really strong. And they come home. And you're anticipatory, expecting something really cool to happen as they walk in the door, expecting to share, expecting to give this energy that you are feeling away, and anticipating it's going to be received very well, that it'll be received in kind. Yet, when they come through the door, you can tell already, without even really seeing them, they had a bad day. They had the opposite experience of you. And now they are struggling. They are upset. So now you have two opposing forces or two opposing energies coming together. And as they meet, what ends up happening? One has to dominate the other. That's just the way things are. That's duality. One must dominate the other. And what one typically dominates the other depends on which one of you is being the most authentic self, the most authentic version of you. If you're just naturally happy, and that's just how you choose to get up in any situation, it's how you choose to show up in any situation, then chances of them diminishing you are much, much less. However, if that was just a momentary thing for you, and some event happened, and you meet them, right away that anger is going to pull you down. It's going to put you in a situation where you feel maybe attacked, maybe verbally abused, or whatever. There's all kinds of things you could say from that. The point is, that's not authentically you, that's not authentically them. You both showed up in certain ways that cannot work together. One or the two of you must surrender. And in those situations, the surrendering typically comes from the less dominant, less authentic individual, and chaos breaks out. But what ends up happening every single time in any situation like that is when the two of you retreat, if you will, surrender, separate. Maybe you go. Maybe the lady goes and does some cooking. Maybe the man goes out and works in the garage. Maybe you watch a movie together and just sit and chill. Maybe one of you goes for a walk. Maybe you go to the gym. Maybe it doesn't matter what it is. You separate. You dissipate that energy into silence, and then you become silent. And when you're silent, what do? The first thing every single brain does, every single human being does, is they begin to contemplate the situation in themselves. Now, if you're being honest with yourself, you know you're contemplating the situation and telling yourself, yeah, I was wrong. It was my energy that did this, or it was because of this, the way that I showed up, I'm the one that made this happen. But if you're not willing to give up and give in, then you hold that. Now, that's a completely different thing to talk about. But the point is, when you become silent, you turn on yourself, or you start to begin to look at yourself. You begin to start to look at how you were made and why you even showed up in that situation in the first place. That all happens in silence. That all happens when you separate. That all happens when you give yourself a time out and ask yourself to just be. Be. Just be. Don't make any opinions. Don't worry about what's happened. It's happened. Happened. Past happened. And because it's happened, it doesn't exist anymore unless you carry it with you. Now, if you carry it with you, you keep it alive in you because you are the life that gives life to other things. You are the life in every situation you enter. You are the life that gives meaning to everything. You are that life. So if you carry yesterday's woes or 10 minutes ago's woes, then you are giving them life. In a situation where everything as it passes is gone, done, finished in the past. And the only place you can see that is in silence. The only place you can truly find clarity is silence. The only place you truly have power, true power, is in silence. Silence is the superpower of the entire universe. And again, everything is born out of it, and everything dies back into it. Therefore, it just makes sense on every level possible. If you can bring yourself to silence within yourself on every level possible. This is what meditation is. This is exactly what meditation is. That whole segment just got. That's a good damn thing we're not live.
Was life.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Sponsor. We're totally playing charades.
You got that?
No. Oh my God.
Oh, God. And then I was trying to tell you, we can just, it's okay, we'll just record the sponsor part.
I was going to say him at the end.
Writing it down is good. I was like SPONSER. I was trying to say it.
Okay,
It's freaking hilarious.
I mean,
We'll edit that out, right?
use the segment and you can do a sponsorship. You can do a little thing and Bonnie can put it in there.
Yeah.
We should record like a separate sponsor thing that I can tack on either at the beginning or the end of everything anyways.
All right.
Do like the intro, the sponsors, and then I'll cut this later. Editing.
So this is helpful, huh? Oh, why does this only say 20 minutes? This says 32.
That's not important. We're at 19
I was
minutes and
signaling
19.
you
Yeah, you were.
way early. I was thinking, gosh, that doesn't seem like. That was good.
Because this started and then stopped and started and stopped. It's
Oh, it's recording the
a
entire. Okay.
session.
Sorry, babe.
It's okay.
Signaled you way too early. But it's looking good.
Alright, so now instead of 30 minutes, we need to go to 34 minutes.
All right. So are we still going? Are we?
Yeah, we're still, no, everything's just stopped. Nothing stopped.
Okay. Do you,
That was
would,
20 minutes. So just start it.
would you like a?
No, it's all
Oh.
part of the same video.
All right, cool. So, back into the silence. It's a funny thing about silence. When you become silent within yourself, what becomes available to you is mind-blowing. And I mean mind-blowing. The things that we think we know, the things that we believe, boy, that's just a minuscule aspect. I mean, a belief is, what is a belief? It's an idea, right? It's just an idea. You literally kill knowing if you believe something. And so we go on believing that we, the more we talk, the better we are. The higher we talk, the more energy we use when we talk. Talking is the deal. And yet, our superpower is actually the exact opposite. It is when we become silent. I've watched this in so many different cases as I've helped folks find silence. Take a husband and wife. They are not getting along, and every time they're together, there's just a confrontation. It becomes ridiculous. It becomes completely ridiculous. And as they try to work on things, it gets more ridiculous until one day one of them resorts to silence. Now, for any guy that's ever been married or with someone you really truly care about, that damn silent treatment, it's something else. You understand what that means. Essentially, what you are right there in that moment does not even elicit a response. You get nothing, not even crickets. You get nothing. There is nothing that will nullify a situation faster than someone resorting to silence. Now, when we talk about silence, we also have to talk about stillness. Because stillness is the voice that speaks silence. And silence is the language of God. Everything that we get, if you've ever, if you're the praying kind, okay, the praying kind, somebody who wants to have a relationship with higher power that you call God. Just the simple act of praying means you enter silence, isn't it? Just the simple act of getting on your knees, clearing all thoughts so you can have a conversation we call prayer with someone we call, or something we call God, an idea of that. That in and of itself is you entering silence. Yes? Isn't it so? There's no question. In fact, in every religion that you can even ponder, the number one thing is always something along the lines of, be still and know that I am God. Still thy heart and know that I am. So if you want to have a relationship with higher power, whatever your version, whatever you call it, with the universe, you are actually looking to have a conversation entered into silence. Yes? So the very nature of everything that we do, that we truly, when we come to a point in our lives where we feel like we need a higher power, we need to surrender, we need to give up, what we're really giving into is we want to be silent. We want to be peaceful. We want to carry peace. We want to carry stillness. So when you look at it from any perspective, when we talk about religion or spirituality in any sense of the word, we're talking about entering silence. Simple silence. It's just simple to simply be and be in silence. The problem with that is, for most people, is it's too simple. It becomes too simple to just give yourself 10 minutes, 30 minutes, a morning, a day. For those of you who are on a spiritual awakening path, you know that you give yourself months or years. I gave myself 3.5 years so that I could become silent. And what I mastered within myself is the language of silence through being still. Now, have you ever just simply sat somewhere? I used to do this when I was a kid. One of my favorite things to do on a rainy day when I wasn't going out and playing was I would take my favorite blanket and I would lay it down on the floor, and I'd wrap myself in. I'd roll into it. You ever rolled into a blanket? Now, the thing about rolling into my blanket was I couldn't move. I was, down here in Texas, I think you call them kolaches. I was a kolache. I couldn't move. I was wrapped in a blanket like a burrito. And as I would lay there, I couldn't do anything but be silent. And pretty soon, within moments, I was listening to my own heartbeat. I was listening to my own breath. I was listening to whatever was happening inside me, inside my body, and the outside disappeared. And that blanket wrapped around me represented the fact that I was in something like a cocoon. Never really thought about it that way, but that's exactly what it would be. So I would lay there in silence. Anybody ever done that? You just lay there, and all of a sudden you can hear far more than you ever realized was there. If you were paying attention to the music, the cars going by, the dog barking, the kids playing, TV, your phone, that's all surface noise. Behind that surface noise, within you, within this one that you are, behind all of that is still silence. And the funniest part about that to me has always been, we talk about souls. Everybody has a soul, spirit, Holy Spirit. There's all kinds of things like that we associate with that which is within you. But the fact of the matter is, we're so busy putting on a persona and a parade and a show with all our outward noise, that part of us never gets to find expression. It never gets to truly express itself. Now, here's the fun part about that. When people say, be your authentic self, just be you. What does that mean? What does it mean to just be me? Because when I got told that before awakening, to me, how do I be anything different? How do I be anything different than what I'm being, which is me, authentically? I don't know how to be anything else. I'm not them, and they're not me, and I'm not you, and I didn't understand what that meant. When you enter silence within yourself, you know clearly what that means. And what that means is you are now dropping everything you think you are, everything you think that everybody thinks of you, everything that you've been taught about yourself. You drop it all. All of your ideas, all of your beliefs, all of your systems of getting through things. A horse isn't even a horse anymore. It's just there. You don't even have to call it anything. It's just there. A door isn't a door. It's just there. A wall isn't a wall. It's just there. Everything around you is just there. And at that point in time, your soul steps out and can now express itself freely in silence. And the more you practice that, the more your soul steps out and leads. And your soul is your authentic self. It's not trying to be anything. It doesn't care what anybody thinks. It doesn't care what's happening. It's just happy to be here. It's happy to be incarnated. It's happy to have an experience. It's happy to see what happens. It's happy if you freak out. It's happy if you don't. It's happy if you are not happy. It's happy if you are happy. It's just happy. The state of being of the highest intelligence possible is happy. What else would it be? It's happy. Happiness is the highest state you can be, and that is where stillness is. That's where your soul lives. And so when you become silent and you practice that, what you're really truly doing at the end of it all is you're inviting your soul to step out, and you are inviting it to lead you through this world. You are inviting that which is not Shiva, that which is not, to come front and center and find expression through you, through your body, through your five senses, through this happening. You now are inviting your soul to lead through you. And if there's anything that silence has taught me, it is simply this. Life happens through you. It does not happen to you. Nothing in this world ever happens to somebody that didn't already come through them to manifest in their world for it to then happen to them. So it's not a happening to. It's I created this. I think about this. I thought about that. I continually held that. That is what I am. And that comes through you. And lo and behold, out there in your world, as your family, as your friends, as your job, as your coworkers, as everything that is everything to you, that is what you're living. That is how it works. And you find that key only in silence. So, if you're truly looking to find your authentic self, if you're truly on a spiritual path that is leading you inward, what you will find is still silence. And when you crack that door and you learn that language and you sit and you commune with that higher intelligence that we call as the creation itself, or the creator, God, whatever, when you can even just lay that name down and you can simply just be in any situation, all of the sudden, everything changes for you. All of the sudden, what's happening through you, you notice in the mirror of life is peaceful. No trouble comes your way. No issues come your way. You can simply just be. That is the power of silence. That is the power of turning inward. That is the power that I would love to show everyone and lead everyone to and invite everyone to go into. Because at that point in time, you become your best version of you, your very best version. Because now you're no longer filtered by all of your beliefs and ideas and judgments and things that you like and don't like and hate and don't hate, love and don't love. Everything just becomes one thing. And if there's anything that I've figured out, it's simply this. Love is the highest feeling I have ever felt in my life or ever will feel. Love. So when I get up from this chair, when I sit in this chair, when I wake up in the morning, when I go to bed at night, when I go to my office, when I am doing this podcast, I am love. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't mean that I'm in love. It means that I am love. It means that no matter where I look, no matter where I gaze, no matter what I put my eyes on, I look at it lovingly. Lovingly first. Now, what happens when you look at anything lovingly? The beauty pops out. The beauty is what you see, not the negativity, not the ugly, not the nasty, not the things you don't care for, because you don't. It's not that you don't care. You just love. You just love. And I have found that by practicing that, and practicing the feeling of love, of being in love. I remember what it was like to be in love when I was younger. I remember very well what it was like to be in love, and I know what it's like to be in love now. I know what love is. I've practiced it. And I can tell you that that state of being is the most rewarding way to set one foot after the other on this planet. It is the most incredible way to live your life, because love on its own absolutely is silent. It flows, it goes, it is, and it's uplifting. And it provides you with the most incredible experiences in places you would never suspect, ever suspect, with people you would never suspect it from. And that all comes from turning inward understanding stillness, and learning to speak the language of silence. It is my hope, my wish, and my blessing to everybody that watches this, anybody who ever sees anything and has anything to do with me, the American Mystic, that you find your ultimate power. You become your most authentic self. You turn inward and you find silence. That's the show for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'd like to thank my sponsors, Electrify, Hometown Internet, Northeast Colorado and Southeast Texas, and soon other places. We're going to grow. Really appreciate those guys for supporting us. If you need internet, give us a call. Look us up. We are at, what are we at? We are at electrify.com. ELEKTRAFI.com. That's ELEKTRAFI.com. If you're looking for some internet in Northeast Colorado or Southeast Texas, those guys will hook you up. And that's the show. Appreciate it very much. Take care, and we'll see you on the next episode, because that's the bottom line about silence, because the American Mystic said so.